Conference Drive, August 14th, 2023, at 6:30 p.m. Roll call, Tarkowski here.
Williams here.
Reyes here.
Church here.
Walker here. Before we start, pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, everybody's just gonna ring it off because there's a lot of people we have here, it's about to go off. So, please just all right, all of our postings in order, please, thank you.
Yes, they are.
Approval of the agenda.
Yes, I have a change. I have, what is it, 10C, permission to work with the town staff regarding the Office of Energy Innovation Readiness Review and Grant. And I would like to move that up to, DPW, because I am doing that with Todd, and I think he would be better able to explain what I am seeking. So we could move that up to, C3,
7-2.
yeah,
10.
10C.
Yes.
No, C is in cat. I would like to do that with Tommy.
All right, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I'd suggest that most of the people here tonight are here for public comment relative to item 7K4. I would ask, because the public comments may actually occur under this agenda after action is taken on K4, that we move the public comment period up to the spot between number 6, treasurer's report, and reports of committee.
Any comments on that, any public comments from 8 up to?
I think
I would agree.
I think that's a great idea. I think that we owe it to the public to, allow them the opportunity to speak before any decision.
Agreed.
I think that's where we're planning to move it effective next month anyway. Correct. On the resolution.
All right, anything else? If not, a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I make the motion that we approve the agenda for August 14, 2023, for the regular town meeting for August as amended.
I'll second.
All right, motion second, discussion on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Okay. We have only one meeting minutes to approve, is that correct?
Yes.
That's the regular board meeting from July 10th. I have made, just two minor remarks here, one of them, page 3, library report. Christina spelled it wrong, there's no Y in this, that's Murphy, that's the one. So, spelling on Christina. And then. No, I guess that is the one thing I had, anybody else?
No,
Okay, then a motion to approve the minutes of July 10th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the, official Town of East Troy board meeting minutes for the regular meeting for Monday, July 10th, 2023 as amended.
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carried. Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report for July 2023, total receipts were $25,189.56. Transfers were $519,800. Interest earned is $762.27. Balance as of June 30th was $30,202.73. Total funds for July were $575,954.56. Checks paid in July were $557,276.36, leaving a balance in the general checking account of $18,678.20.
Questions?
How is the vote one in comparison to?
It's about the same as last year, actually, very close.
Okay, thank you. Well, last year was a strong year, right?
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report for the month of July 2023 as presented.
Second.
second discussion at all. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, we moved up public comments, to this time period now. I do think I do have to preface
Do you have any questions on my clerk report?
and your report.
I don't at this.
Pretty thorough. Good? All good? Okay. All right, they said I'd like to preface this a little bit. Obviously, I think the vast majority of the people here are for the conditional use request and county DA, the old double Ds. And I did have some conversations with Attorney Miller on this. I have an issue, not a procedural one, even though it's not procedure here, it's procedure at the planning commission. But Joe Cook, did nothing wrong, at the second planning commission meeting, which is the decision-making meeting. At that meeting, public comments were not noticed, so he couldn't take any. Matter of fact, if he took public comments at the second meeting, then it could have been an issue. In the discussions I had with Attorney Mills, it appears that, there's a considerable amount of changes that occurred between the first meeting at the planning commission and the decision-making meeting, as well as even additional information coming in even as late as last Friday. So there's still more information coming in on this. And the public, like some people mentioned here, has the right to, weigh in on a complete plan with all of the particulars that now are known to be what the request is. That's one thing. And the second thing, the public assembly portion was not addressed by the planning commission. So, that was a request of part of the original conditional use permit. So there's a procedural issue here that way. So Jim, is there anything you'd like to add now, or knowing that we're gonna?
Well, I was going to ask to be recognized, and just as we discussed that, Commissioner Cook did not do anything wrong, I also was of the opinion the applicant didn't do anything wrong, because oftentimes what'll happen is an applicant will go to the county says you need to file an application with the town, so they go and do that. And then they go back to the county, and I'm not suggesting this happened here, but based on experience, my guess is something similar may have happened. The applicant went back to county, said, okay, I applied with the town, what's next? And the county starts speaking with the applicant as to their proposal. What's allowed, what isn't allowed, so things oftentimes will change. My thought on this particular matter, I have two of them. First is, ordinarily I would not think having music at a bar establishment would be anything out of the ordinary. that would cause the matter to need further discussion. The difference for this particular site for me is that the music that is proposed asks for up to 74 outdoor music events, which is a change because the original documents that were filed and published for the public to come in and comment on July 5th did not address that. Second, Supervisor Church asked me, how does Act 67 play into all of this? So I wrote to Supervisor Church, and I think it's important for the board to hear this too. Act 67 states that you cannot use speculative fears to deny a conditional use permit. A denial must be supported by substantial evidence on the record. The new law states that a conditional use provision, or that conditional use provisions mandate that a conditional use permit must be issued where the applicant meets or agrees to meet standards specified in the local ordinance. The standards must be reasonable and measurable. The county issues the conditional use permit. The town is only advisory. I think the town, if it's sent back to the plan commission for public comment only, I think the plan commission vote may ultimately end up being the same. But my recommendation to the board is that it go back to plan commission for public comment on the most updated plan first. Let the plan commission vet the matter, and then the town board can vote to either accept or deny the plan commission's recommendation.
Okay, and that kind of, in the same thought process I had. And the troubling part is, and again, we have a little people here, is procedurally, I don't think this is the proper place for a public hearing for that conditional use request. That is what the plan commission is for. So I think we'd be doing a disservice to have it here, even though, as you can see, we have a plethora of people.
Now, I want to remind you that even when it comes back, if it goes back, when it comes back to the board, the citizens would still have a right to comment at another town board meeting if that's the case. And they also have the right to go to county and speak to their concerns. You know, so not all will be lost, but my thought is the town board needs to make sure a procedure was followed and we have all our ducks in a row here. So the town is not subject to allegations that we somehow did not do what we were supposed to do.
So that would then mean that this issue, this use request, should indeed go back to the plan. This is not unheard of.
Well, that's my opinion on it. The board's gonna have to vote.
Right. A little history on that. I mean, the then board 18, I was on the plan commission, I think 5 or 10 before that. There was several times where an issue did come to the town board, and it did get sent back for the exact reason we're discussing here, so it's not unprecedented. Number two, if we're gonna do our due diligence, I think by us having a public hearing here tonight on this issue would be incorrect. I think it would be, okay, so I think that begs it to be sent back. And you're right, the vote could be the same, it could change. The main thing.
The point is, we don't know, and that's the crux of my argument. It's a due process procedural argument. It has nothing to do about the use of the property.
Right.
Can you explain to me how public comments tonight are different than public comments at the planning commission?
They aren't necessarily different, but what we don't know is, because public comment was not heard on the full scope of the plans at the July 5th meeting, we don't know whether or not a plan commission recommendation would have come to the town board with additional conditions on it or not. And the fact that we don't know is the reason for my opinion that it should go back.
But couldn't we make conditions in lieu of the planning commission?
You could.
The town board can add conditions, in addition to what conditions that the plan commission recommended. They are advisory only to the county will make the decision on this case, okay? We will give conditions, and there already are conditions listed in the resolution that was prepared. There may be more, but the county is under no obligation to accept those conditions. They may or may not use them. The history, recent history, the last 5 years is, there's no pattern. Sometimes they're added on in their entirety, sometimes they're ignored in their entirety. That's kind of gonna be featured if you want to see, but Act 67 does change the formula to a point of, what can be approved and not approved. But what the plan commission still has to also determine is, they did not act on the public assembly portion of the request. That's number one. And number two, is the requested use even listed as a conditional use under P3 waterfront business? So that's another question for the plan commission, I believe, to cipher out. And that's not to be done here. That has to occur at the time. So, I'm.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just a question, Jennifer, to the best of your knowledge, is this item on the Walworth County zoning administration for this Thursday,
I don't believe for this Thursday.
17th?
Yeah, it is.
Normally,
Yes.
the county
It is.
plan
It
is,
is.
they will not act until, they will not act, they'll table it until they get the input from the local.
So it is on their agenda, but we believe it would be tabled.
That is their, that is the county's marching orders on that. They will not act on an issue until they have the local, input. So they'll table it. Have you been told otherwise?
We received in the mail a notice that said it was gonna be on their agenda on the 17th.
Okay, you didn't mention that.
And I talked to Caitlin today, who said as long as the conditions, if the town board chose to put in conditions, as long as they are legally supported and non-discriminatory, the town could add its own conditions by town board approval.
So there is another option. We have a recommendation. There is 3 options, I believe, I think people are calling the opposite way. The options, one is to approve it as is, one is to deny it as is, and the other one is to send it back to the plan commission. I think.
The fourth would be you can approve it with additional conditions.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, approve it with the conditions. Right. So I guess that's for the board to kind of cipher out, and I know, Bill, you spent a tremendous amount of time on this one. Is there anything here that we did not mention that is pertinent to the discussion?
Well, I was at both of the meetings, and at both of the meetings, I did express concern that the public, the citizens of the township were clearly not allowed to speak, which was difficult to observe. And also that they were not given the information that was current, and that's been mentioned. Lastly, I do think the commission itself did err in procedurally because we did receive new information on the July 5th meeting. We agreed not to make a formal decision at that meeting or to entertain that information, and yet we did speak on several of the items, including live venues, the stage, whether or not peers were involved or not involved, that could be part of the business, and, I mean, we strayed as a commission, and, we ought not do that in the future.
I guess I would agree to the point that when the information, more information came up, the option was there for, the plan commission chairman to table it to the next month. That could have been done. It also could be done here, you can do that. Like I said,
But we're in public comments right now, so this is a lot of dissemination of information as well. These people are here, are we saying that we're gonna tell them all to leave and come back to the planning commission, or are we gonna let them speak?
that's what we're discussing, and that's, I guess we need a motion to that effect, which way to go. We haven't mentioned both ways.
I'll make a motion.
Right, I mean, there's public comment.
I'll make a motion that we allow public comments tonight on the proposal.
We're gonna proceed with your public comments right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Procedurally, you should.
We don't make this
We are-
decision now.
Not now.
We are, but we're gonna, what we're saying is that if we make a decision to send it back with no other comments here, that will take place now. I heard clearly that we're not doing.
No, it has to happen in May 4th. Right now it's public comment, not the board's decision to send it back.
Right.
That's way down on the agenda.
That will occur when Bill's report comes to us for it.
Right.
Right now it's public comments.
So we have no issue, nobody has an issue with that, that's what we want.
So I'll second Barb's motion to listen to the public comment.
All right, we have a